Bob West Goldberg, Bay Area News Group. Is now the workout process and all that pretty much done? And what do the next, I guess, 3 days look like for you and the rest of the front office?
I think it's coming to a decision point, Wes. The workouts are done. We talked about having one more guy in tomorrow, which didn't come to fruition. We always want more, but at some point it has to end and you make a decision. But we're up there meeting right now and going through medical information as far as any issues that might be there or apparent. And that's a big deal because you'll see guys either one, elevate themselves in the draft or drop based on the last few days before the draft. I've been in that position as an agent, represented players, and thought they were in a good spot. And then 2 to 3 days before the draft, teams would call and say, we can't draft him because of X reason, his knee or there's something that showed up. That actually happens pretty close to the draft. Or you're scrambling to say to an agent, I need to get an MRI of his left hip. We've got a concern there. So much money at stake, certainly guaranteed money. So it'll be medical processing. Analytics have never played a bigger role than they do now, I think in every sport, certainly in basketball. And they're a much bigger part of our draft than they ever were and probably will be in the future. It's going to continue in that direction. So everything's a little more sophisticated, but eventually you have to pin it down. And that comes down to processing everything we've seen and done and heard. I was on the phone with a college coach today, and at some point you want all this information, but at some point you just want to say, okay, that's enough. Now we got to decide and get some clarity of thought. So the next 3 days will be what the previous 30 have been, which is, do we want to draft? Do we want to draft 2 picks? What if you draft a young guy at 7? Do you want to draft a young guy at 14? What do we want our team to be? All the things you write about, we're trying to figure out. And there's no perfect answer to that. There's no perfect solution. So we try to do the best we can and with what's put in front of us, whether that's the best trade, whether that's the best, just take the picks. So that's what we're trying to figure out.
Bob, this is the first year where you were evaluating G League prospects, guys from the Ignite. How different is that process versus the college guys or the European guys, the international guys?
Different. We went down there, myself, Joe Lacob, I think Dunleavy went with us. And obviously we had our G League team there. So we had our G League staff there, Ryan Atkinson, David Fatoki was down there. I think Kent Lacob was there as well. So we had like a lot of teams, had a pretty good contingent, but we flew in to watch, thinking we might have a high pick. It's different, Monty, same way you watch it. I mean, it's not the same as college, but what does that mean? I mean, the line's maybe a little further back. Rules are more NBA rules, but games longer. I mean, that's where the analytics help. You try to compare apples to apples. So it's different. It's the same as the international game. How do you watch our USA team now? It's not the same game. But what do you draw from that? You and I might argue or disagree on whether stats are inflated or deflated. Whether international stats, because it's 40 minutes and because you can play different kind of defenses, have more weight or have less weight. So some biases in there, some subjectivity. But this is the first year, I believe, where you're scouting the G League with lottery picks in it. I think that's going to be the norm. So in 3 or 4 years, I could give you a better answer as to how we weight it. But it's gonna be there, right? That's the way things are going. There'll be a few guys every year in it. The good news is, for us, we got to see 2 games in 3 days, which was nice, and decent seats. Not great. Nobody had great COVID seats, so it's helpful, but it's not the same as college. Different game.